All right, hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about how do we treat water in sewage systems, taking out some of that solid waste and removing excess nutrients and bacteria from it so that it can either A, be dumped back into aquatic ecosystems, or B, be reused in urban areas. So a word that I'm going to be using a lot throughout the next week as we talk about sewage treatment is effluent. And this is essentially just liquid water or sewage discharged back into a body of water. Now, when we talk about treating sewage, there's going to be essentially three main steps: primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment, all of which are going to do unique functions to help make the water as healthy as possible. In primary treatment, this is primarily going to focus on the physical removal of large items like municipal solid waste and sediments. And this is done through density chambers. It's going to be done through communitors, which is essentially just like a kind of a rumbling system to break things up. And then you have a series of screens to remove all the big stuff that it can right off the bat. And this is eventually just going to be disposed of in a grit chamber or a grit disposal. This can, if it's just regular sediment, be deposited back into aquatic ecosystems, or if it's something more serious like municipal solid waste, we can put it in sanitary landfills where it belongs. In secondary treatment, essentially what's going to happen is anything that didn't get dropped by the grit chamber, so a little bit smaller solids, is essentially going to get removed with this clarifier and turned into raw sludge. Now, sludge is essentially just a mixture of really small, like kind of particulate matter and water. And then what we do is we dehydrate it and then place that leftover sludge or particulate matter into a sanitary landfill. The water is then going to be pumped up and sent to different types of aeration tanks. And these aeration tanks are essentially going to kill bacteria using different types of mechanisms. You can use mechanisms like chlorine or UV radiations or exposing them to different aerial chemicals, all of which will remove nutrients and life from them, like bacteria, which can be poisonous. Now, tertiary treatment kind of is a blending of those treatments I just talked about with the chemical filters and removing some of the nitrates and phosphates with different filters. So you can see the filters here in the center part. And essentially, you're just running the water through using different types of diffusion and osmosis. And then these filters are going to remove those excess nutrients so we don't have to deal with eutrophication and dead zones when the effluent is eventually dumped out. Now, as these things are treated, they're going to follow into these storm drain and sewage system kind of connections, and all of which is going to work its way out to aquatic ecosystems. So in these storm drains, you're going to have a combination of a bunch of different pollutants due to runoff in urban areas. So you're going to have things like E. coli, ammonia, nitrates, phosphates, endocrine disruptors, all of which are ran off due to regular human activities in urban areas, all of which are combined here in these sewage systems and then eventually work their way out to aquatic ecosystems unless they are treated at a water treatment plant using the sewage plan that we just talked about here. Okay. So it kind of depends on where you live. Developed nations tend to have better water treatment facilities than developing nations, and that's why we tend to have cleaner water than developing nations as well. All right, so here's going to be your FRQ for today. It says identify a number on the watershed treatment below that shows a step of primary treatment and describe a pollutant that is removed by primary treatment. So that's going to be it for today, and I will see you all tomorrow.